quick break. I just want to say thank you for all the people around the world, Jamaica, Germany, Asia, Europe, South America. Thank you for listening to Leap of Health. Thank you for the support. And remember, my book is out. You can find it on Barnes & Nobles and Amazon. It's called Parents Are Greatest Teachers. Thank you again for all the support. And now back to our episode. Hello, everyone. This is your host, Alex Balgood, and this is Leap of Health. And today we have Lauren Joy. She is a psychic energy worker. She does also spiritual counseling, and pretty much she's a spiritual warrior. Thank you for being here today, Lauren.
Thanks so much for having me.
Yes, thank you. Thank you. And we're going to be talking about medical intuitive work and what it is and how it looks like. But before that, tell us a little bit about your story and how you discovered you were this energy worker.
Amazing. So I grew up in Richmond, Virginia, and I lived quite the typical American childhood, yet I had these really profound psychic gifts. The adults were always tell me, oh, you're so sensitive, you're so special. I was an artist. I was always drawing and painting and dancing to really express my creativity. And I thought I was just an artist, that I was a sensitive channel. And so I went to art school. And about a few years after college, I had then moved to Berlin and I came to Brazil. And I had my first experience with the shamanic plant medicine called ayahuasca. When I drank the ayahuasca, I went to drink with some Indians in a spiritual center, and I had my first tremendous, humongous awakening. I was a different person when I woke up the next day. The veil had been lifted, and my psychic gifts had returned once again. So I went on this worldwide journey to 30 countries studying Ayurveda, yoga, ancient history, energy work, acupuncture, Chinese medicine. I was looking for self-healing tools. I was looking for spiritual practices and techniques and philosophies that really resonated with me. And I can say it's been kind of a lifelong journey to learn how to cleanse my body, learn how to balance my mind, learn how to use my gifts and really unfold them and develop them into a potent source. So nowadays I have what's called clairaudience and clairvoyance. And that is when I usually go into a bit of a trance-like state. So I'll play my drum, use my rattle, do some singing, get into a meditative state. Sometimes exercise or catharsis is needed to kind of empty my body. And then I start to hear and receive messages from the spiritual realm. I start to see and energetically understand people's energy fields, their traumas, and through intuition, I receive a lot of information. There are also like clairsentient and claircognizant psychic abilities where you just kind of feel in your body things, or you just kind of know things. So those are also at play. But nowadays, doing the energy work, this channeled kind of psychic work, my main tools are going out into nature and recharging myself, because nature is such a high frequency. So I can enter a natural spring of water. I can go lay on some hot rocks. Like people experience this deep relaxation when they're at the beach, you know, with the sun and the waves. I basically spend most of my time taking care of myself, taking care of my vessel, so I can do this very subtle energy work, I would say.
Mm-hmm. That's awesome. And how do you start working with people? I know medical intuitive, right? Is that how they call it? When they come to you, they have some sort of illness and they want you to kind of like clear that energy or something. Do you do that, right?
No, so I don't do anything called medical intuitive. I'm not totally sure where you grabbed that phrase. But I can definitely explain how it works. So essentially, the modern day situation is that a lot of people have been subject to tremendous amounts of trauma. This is absolutely normal in ancient times and also in modern day. So a lot of peer pressure, a lot of kind of social cultural norms of what a successful person looks like, what a successful person is, the self-worth and the value of yourself. a lot of people are letting that be dictated from the outside world. So did my parents approve of me? If not, oh, man, I feel like I'm not good enough. Did a partner or an ex-boyfriend tell me that tell me that I was a piece of crap, and now I've taken that as my identity. So I find a lot of people have sculpted their personal identity based on the outer world, how people have treated them, the traumas they've gone through, and they're running these automatic programs in their head that are voices of other people. One of my clients the other day called them hungry ghosts, and I was like, wow, that is very accurate. We all have those voice of our mom or that parent, that abandonment voice, that betrayal voice. Those are energetic densities held in our field. They're a cellular memory. Those are energetic imprints inside our field. And a lot of times our mind will operate from that place. And that's where people say your thoughts create your reality. Well, in this sense, this is true. And for me, this is the definition of magic. If I'm thinking that something is not possible for me, I energetically close the door. If I'm thinking in a doomsday chicken little, everyone's out to get me, then that's what I see in the outer world. When I find that nugget of flame inside me, that's like, I can do this. I believe in myself. Anything's possible. That's when the doors open and the universe starts to conspire. And really it's it's physics, it's a quantum energetic phenomenon. Many people call this unseen realm, magic, but really it's just using the power of your thoughts to create your reality. But you got to get those thoughts that are not yours. They've been put on you by society and by experience. We have to clear those out. So when I start to work with people, first thing we do is we dive into what are all the stories you're telling yourself. And
Right.
that's just like a conversation. It's like, what's going on in your life? What are you suffering with? What is the pain? What is your heart like? What is this heaviness you're carrying in your heart? What is blocking you? And this unfolds really naturally because it's kind of rare that people get the opportunity to speak in such an unfiltered, raw soul level. I see a high value in psychology and traditional Western therapy, but I don't see the place for spiritual and soul level breakthroughs, especially when it comes to the psychic gift sector, because many people are very psychic. Many people are very intuitive, and that isn't nourished or nurtured throughout their life. So they close it down. In my sense, that was my story. I was always told you're too sensitive, that, I would see and feel and perceive more than others could. And they would kind of gaslight me that my intuitions were totally wrong. So we start to unfold the stories. And then we sometimes look at your astrology, your human design, and your Mayan galactic dream spells. These are all sacred ancient technologies for understanding your energy blueprint. So what are your natural gifts? What is your power? And sometimes I don't need to use these things because I can just transform old limiting beliefs through conversation and really point out to the soul, like, wow, look how powerful you are. Look what you're contributing. And I can show them their value just through talking. And this basically ignites a flame of self-love in the person. Wow, yes, I am. It is possible. Yeah, that story my dad told me, that's garbage. That's not true. I removed that. I released that. I let go of that. And we're getting closer and closer into your personal power. These maps are really helpful because human design is showing you your natural superpowers on an energetic level. Astrology is showing you your light and shadow. What are your challenges? How do you think? Who are you as a woman? This can all be seen in astrology. And it's so powerful to hear, like, yes, I am like that. Yes, I do struggle. And then the programming and the societal projections melt away. And the personal power of the person is now reaffirmed. And you know who you are. You feel your light. You know your value. And then that cannot be challenged from the outer world. You're now a strong individual and you're going to move forward completely different in your life. And I also do these kind of psychic energy work ceremonies where it's kind of I would say a shamanic work. I will tap into your energy field, and tap into your higher self. So I will put myself into a super high frequency state and a kind of trance state where I will pray and call in and contact your higher self, which is just you vibrating in a faster frequency with a bit more wisdom. And then your higher self will guide me to open chakras, and I'll receive all this information through clairvoyance. So I'll be closing my eyes and I'll seeing in your throat, oh, did your brother ever tell you to shut up? And yeah. Okay, this closed down your throat chakra and you thought your voice was not valuable. We're going to open this. And we start to send divine love, high frequency love into your centers and open and let those traumas melt away. And I consider this kind of like an activation work more than anything else.
Hmm. Yeah, I love that. I don't think people really understand, because you don't have to see the person in front of you. I know some people could do it from anywhere in the world. I know I had some of these type kind of like energy cleaning, body work, and the individual that has done it for me, she's like in I don't know, Arkansas or something. And at that time I was in LA, and a lot of people sometimes they can't wrap around why, how can they do that? You're in like one state and she's like on the other side of the world. Can you explain us a little bit why is that possible?
Definitely. So, some great examples to understand this concept is that we are all energetically connected. So we can feel sometimes when a friend or a loved one or a family member is in a car accident, especially from the mother perspective, you get this sixth sense that something is not right. You make a phone call and you find out someone was in an accident. This is telepathy. This is energetic connection, because as much as we feel very separate and we feel, okay, I'm isolated in this human body, energetically we're connected into the collective field, the energetic field of earth and all the humans. And I see it as this fractal. It's an unseen, invisible, spiraling cords of energy and thoughts and intentions. And that's what the law of attraction talks about, is that you get your mind so in a thought form of believing you can do it, that you send this as a beam of energy into the collective. And then this collective fractal then brings back exactly what you believed is possible for you. So for me, because I've been drawing fractals nonstop since I was a child, that happens to be how I perceive. So in that sense, if you understand that you can become telepathic with friends and family, it's like you look at your cousin or you look at your bestie and you know what they're thinking. This is modern day telepathy. And so, if I won't dive too deep into the quantum realm, but the quantum realm is a frequency that's so fast that there's no past, present, or future. It's a kind of sacred space of all creation. So for me, I can also see this very easily with dreams. So Rudolf Steiner was a magical man who created these Waldorf schools. He also was many other things, but he has shared that in a very beautiful essay, people can look this up. When you dream, your soul is, your spirit is actually leaving your body a lot of the time, and it's going to fly around the universe. It's going to have these magical experiences. It's going to visit deceased ancestors. It's going through these kind of journeys. Sometimes our dreams are unconscious, kind of like digestions of information, but most of the time our spirit's leaving our body and it's going to play in a multidimensional reality, because us as a consciousness, we vibrate at many different frequencies in that fractal. So to try to clarify a bit, I'm present here in my human body, but a little piece of my consciousness is my higher self, and that's vibrating at a faster rate, and beyond. So to really tap in and answer your question, I can use my intention to leave my body, to go send my energy to where the person is and tap into their energy field. For sure, I always have permission from the person to contact their higher self for the intention of healing with divine love. So we set the intention very clear, but I just need the general location and the name of the person to transport my energy over there. And
Mm-hmm.
sometimes when you pray, or some religions like Hinduism will idolize certain gods and goddesses. Sometimes with African Odishas, they will tap into the spirit, these archetypes of Yemanja or these other entities. Christians love to work with Jesus. These are just higher frequency entities that can offer us wisdom, that can offer us healing, that can offer us this high frequency energy that helps us to transform our energy into higher states of being, more into unconditional love, more into places of self love and abundance, that kind of thing. So, essentially, yes, I am leaving my body and flying over to you and putting my hands over you energetically and starting to receive information, starting to see things. And in person, there's quite a bit of physical reaction because my aura is directly in touch with their aura. So the high frequency transmission is oftentimes causing, like if you see people do deep breath work
Hmm.
exercises, their
Yeah.
body shaking and releasing, and that's the breath work is recalibrating their energy field for them. So in person, there's definitely a lot of physical things, but remotely, this is just as powerful, I would say. And it's all about really, in the end of the day, cleansing, detoxing, and purifying your energy field. We just want to release these densities, these old thought forms, these old perceptions, these old stories, and these old psychic connections of lack or feeling not enough. We just release them, and we raise our frequency into a higher potency of us, and not kind of the energetic invasions we had placed on us and put on us by other people.
Hmm. Yeah. And one of those things, and the reason why I did it, I contacted this individual and I was like, I've tried everything in the Western medicine, I tried holistic medicine, and I still have these pains. Can you help me? How does the physical body gets all these stuck energy in certain body parts? And because it's one of those things that we are so um in our thoughts, we're like, it's just my gallbladder, or it's just my heart, or it's just I have a stomach pain, and we don't realize that that's also connected with our energy. And I realized that the hard way, I guess, because I went through all these pains in my body because I went to the doctors, I took medicine, I went to holistic approach, and nothing seemed to help. And when I found this energy work, I'm like, I have to try this because I tried everything else and nothing is working. How does our physical body gets connected to this energetically body and
Definitely.
reacts that way? Mm-hmm.
Definitely. Was that energy work that you had? Like, what was the relief that you experienced particularly?
Yeah, so I had this pain right about the gallbladder. And so they did like testings. They're like, you have stones. And then I actually passed out the stones with a holistic practitioner. The Western doctor was like, we need to take your gut bladder out, like all this, like everybody had an opinion of what they needed to do. And I'm like, well, first of all, you're not taking anything out of my body. And then with the holistic approach, I'm like, well, I already passed out all these stones. Like I saw them with my eyes, and I still not feeling well. I still feel the same. It did help. Both worlds, I guess, they helped me in some sort of way, but the pain was still there at all times. And it seemed to get worse when I was very stressed or worried, or something was going on. Um, it was just like this massive pain, and sometimes it was worse than others. And I was like, is it something that I'm eating? Like, what is it, right? And but it was like, with food or without food, it was the pain, it was there. So me trying to look for an answer, and I'm like, what else can I do? I tried acupuncture, I tried this, I tried that, and nothing seems to work. It helps me in some sort of way, but nothing helped me. So I did contact this energy worker lady, and I was like, can you please help? I have this pain. I don't know what it is. It's there. So I was in my home. She was at her house. I just literally lay down. She saw my aura, or the energy body, and one thing that she found was that there was some sort of hole in my energetically body. And she kind of like patched that up, and she's like, yeah, in one of your past lives, something very dramatic happened to you, and there's a hole here, and that might be affecting you. And also she said that there was some sort of like, she could see inflammation around the gallbladder, and she's like, let me do some energy work there and try to heal it. And I did have that one session with her, um, and literally that pain went away. It comes back now here and there when I'm stressed. I do notice that. But other than that, I was like, that was the only thing that helped me. And I know for all the listeners, this might sound really crazy and like woo woo and whatever. And believe me, I was there. I was like, how is this lady going to help me? She's not it. She doesn't even know me. But whether you believe it or not, that was the only thing that really helped me. And so I was so grateful for this energy work. And obviously, after that, I did a lot of Reiki, and which is another form of energy work and healing. And that's always helped me. It seems like I feel better. My energy feels clear. I don't feel as heavy. I do feel like I absorbs people's energy when they're like sad, when they're angry. And so I think Reiki helps me to clear that out and just kind of like not get attached to all these people's feelings, I guess. But yeah, that was my experience. And I thought it was wonderful. Like, it really helped me.
Wow. I couldn't have said it better myself. Thank you for setting the stage. It's so true. And I will really try to ground this down for the listeners, for anyone that may be listening and feel like this is, a little bit out of the ordinary advice or topic of conversation. So, we have our physical body. It's physical matter. It's blood, it's water, we can see it, we can touch it, we can feel it. Then we have our energy body. Our energy body is commonly known as the aura. But as much as we as our physical matter, we are equally as much an energetic being. We are energy, electricity. We are electric. And I know people have had moments of ecstasy where their body felt electric and they're like, wow, yeah, I feel incredible. I can do anything right now. This is your energy being high. And when your energy is low and in a lower frequency, you feel angry, you feel hateful, you feel jealousy, things like that. So we want to be careful when we absorb energy from other people. That is when our auras are touching. So my energy field is touching your energy field, and those energy fields are communicating. They're sending energy backwards and forwards. So you being very sensitive, perhaps on your human design, you have some empty centers. Empty centers are when you're not outputting any energy. You're just clearly a sponge and you're
I
just
do.
receptive.
Yeah.
You have the empty emotional?
I don't know what it's called, but
Is
I'm
it the
a,
little triangle? Is it the baby triangle? Or the bottom triangle on the right and the bottom? Anyhow,
yeah, I
classic,
gotta look that up.
classic symptom. Yeah, no, it's okay. We can look up your chart for sure.
Yeah.
So Reiki is an ancient Chinese technology, and very similar to what I do. It's just channeling universal life force into another person's body. And we do this through what some people would call prayer. Prayer is when we open our hearts and we say, look, I know there's something bigger than me. I know there's something more powerful for me. I'm calling to you because I need help. I need healing. I need insight. I'm calling to a higher frequency to come down and raise my frequency. That's energetically what's going on. And we can have every single kind of religious vocabulary or spiritual vocabulary to describe the same thing. So we are energy beings. We're walking around with energy. When we're around super inspiring, loving, high vibrational kind people, we feel great. When we are around depressed, sad, negative people, it starts to rub up on us. And we're like, oh, I need to either get away or I need to spend some time healing myself after I've just absorbed your, low frequency thoughts. So if we think of ourselves as an energetic being, and here I will get a little woo woo. I've done enough shamanic plant medicine ceremonies and psychedelic ceremonies with indigenous shamans to have left my body, entered into all eternal creation, realize that I'm an eternal being, having a temporary experience as Lauren, and I will continue on. That death is a gift. When I die, I'm going to return to the high frequency of unity and love, which people call heaven, and it's a gift to die. So here is where the hard work is. Here is the game. Here is the theater of being human. And if you think about it, we have all eternity and infinity. So this temporary experience is a gift to be explored. We're meant to have pleasure. We're meant to fall on our knees and have transformations. We're meant to cry and have relations. It's a gift to have this temporary experience and what seems like a very long timeline that does not have an end date. So in my energy field, when I have stuck energy, when I have a hole in my aura, when I have physical pain, that is also in the energetic field as a distortion. And we can get these distortions through our own thoughts. So we keep thinking negative things about ourselves, and we're basically creating a negative thought that is in our energy field. We're creating that. We can create other thoughts, more high frequency thoughts. I love myself. I'm beautiful. I'm powerful. I have value. I have something to offer. Then we start to elevate our own energy field and expand its capabilities, shall we say. So this is why energy work is very unique, like Reiki or energy work that I do or energy workers do, because we're just channeling like a radio. We put up our antenna to the highest frequency we can access, and then we just play this high frequency energy into you, which is going to heal and assemble holes and close holes, open chakras. It's very all in the energetic realm. But pain is a sign of inflammation. Pain is something in the energetic field in your aura has now moved into the physical, and it's a signal to your body. Your body is trying to tell you, hey, something's wrong. I need help. There's inflammation. There's also to consider the frequency of food. So if you are on let's say a juice cleanse where you're eating some boiled potatoes and drinking these carrot orange juices or these ginger kale juices for a few days, your whole energy is going to transform because the high frequency energy of the food is nourishing every little cell. It's putting every little mineral into every little place it needs to be. And you're going to be a brand new person, or you're going to have like a total elevation of the field. You may see your thoughts start to change, and you might start to feel energetically better. So food is an easy way to tap into inflammation and to pain when it's moved into the physical body. Hydration is another huge thing. If unfortunately we're not drinking enough water, that means our self-healing mechanisms built into our body can't function. So when we're underhydrated, which most people are, the cells are a little bit shriveled, and they're fighting with all their life to send communication signals for the healing cells to be made. When we have all the vitamins and all the nutrition available within our body for self-healing, and we take the time to rest and say, okay, obviously I'm not so good right now. I'm going to go and I'm going to turn on my immune system to heal myself. How do I do that? I go and relax. Relaxation is what opens the immune system, the liver to clean itself, the bile to move through the intestines. When we're stressed and when we feel this pressure, oftentimes coming from self-created narratives inside the brain of perception of reality, then our whole immune system shuts down. This your Western doctor could tell you. And then the whole body is like tight. It's in fight or flight, and it's in survival mode. No healing is going to take place in this area. When we go and we lay down and we do shavasana on our yoga mat, or we go put on some music and we set a timer and we say, for 1 hour, I'm going to sit here and relax. And we can even pray. I invite any healing energy. I invite my body to heal itself right now. We command our body to rest, to heal, and we can, basically energetically work on ourselves when we take that time, when we make that space. But there's also another point to this question you've asked me, which is metaphysical anatomy. So that is where you can look up whatever symptom you're having and it's going to give you an energetic, basically symptom as well. So some people, let's say you have like all these eye problems. There's like this sty on your eye and eyes. Well, metaphysical anatomy will give you many explanations. You're not willing to see something. You don't see yourself. You don't see your own value, things like this. And this moves into food as well, because like, for example, a carrot looks like an eye when you cut it. And carrots happen to be the best food ever for
For the
eye
eye.
health.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this is not a joke. The earth is feeding us nutrition and minerals directly for our body. And we can really get some information. So for you, it would be interesting to see the kind of emotional symptoms of gallbladder, and then see that this woman repaired your energy field with high frequency divine love. Essentially, that's what energy work
Mm-hmm.
is, just calling to source like Reiki and raining down those, showering you with that healing frequency. And then you could look and kind of see. So I would recommend, if any people are having severe pain, to realize, okay, my physical body is inflamed. I have inflammation in a certain place. And maybe my Western doctor is going to give me medicine that's going to take away the symptoms. But as integrative health and nutrition and doctors teach us, there's a physical, there's an energetic, and then there's a spiritual. The spiritual is the root cause, about how you see yourself. How do you perceive yourself as a spirit? Do you identify with, okay, I'm Lauren, I'm the daughter of this person, and I was never good enough to succeed, and I'm just getting by and nothing is available to me? Okay, you've just made a magic spell that's what your reality is going to look like. If I can find deep within myself a teeny tiny flame of belief that I'm here for a reason, and that I have value to share, I have love to share, I have beauty to express, and dang it, I have creative things that I want to create. I want to express myself. I want to be free to express myself. And I want to love myself so deeply that what other people think of what I create and what other people think of how I express myself, it's none of my business. It's their perception. And actually, it has nothing to do with me. And of course, we're playing in these realms of respecting other people's space, respecting other people's process, understanding that everyone is a unique individual and we're all going to see and feel differently. But we want to get back to our own personal power and our own self-love, especially to activate pain and healing. So I have this pain. First step, I'm going to do hydration. I'm going to do 1 extra glass of water per day for a little while. Then I'm going to start to introduce some high frequency healing foods, be it shilajit or goji berry or spirulina or bee pollen or some raw natural honey. I need to give the vessel the tools it needs to heal itself. Then I need to go lay down and intentionally relax and ask my body and command my body, because your body can hear you. It's you. I'm giving time and space for my body to heal right now. Then you can use prayer. You can call upon your source, your God, and ask for healing energy to come directly into that spot. And as you take these few new steps of self-care, your frequency is going to start to change, because you're going to realize that you're using your willpower and taking action steps to heal yourself, to participate in your own self-care, and that you're not depending on other people to save you. You're not a victim. You create your own healing. And I think if I was to say anything, we can energetically rebalance our own field by ourselves. But sometimes we do want to go to practitioners and experts that can show us the way, give us the tools, explain the philosophy, and maybe do some energetic upgrade work for people. If they have access to a Reiki healer, and there exist these Reiki healing clinics where it's very affordable and it's a group setting, and it's sometimes $20 or something around there. And you just have these people that are open channels, and they're just going to lay their hands and they're going to channel high frequency energy into your field. And that's just going to nourish and upgrade and start to recalibrate. And densities are just going to be wiped away and replaced by other frequencies. So I think I covered that question on every single level for sure.
No, it's true. It's true. And you know what? I did look up what was the gallbladder, that little area with my feelings, because I was like, what is wrong with me? Because I feel like I'm an overall individual that's always kind of like a bit positive, mostly, And so, but I did look it up. I was like, what is this? Why am I having this pain now? And it did show up when I was at my highest stress in my life. So I went back and I looked, and it was, I believe it was anger and almost, I think, like resentment, I want to say. So,
Wow.
yeah. So, and, I really had to sit on that and be like, what am I angry about? Because I mean, I'm not an angry person. I don't go around like hating people or anything like that, right? So yeah, sitting on that, and maybe I was a little bit angry at the time, whatever was my living situation or maybe my job or whatever. I was in a very high stressed life at that point. And so even though I didn't go about my day angry, you know, I still had that little anger towards me, I guess, of how I was living, the decisions I was making. So really sitting on that thought, like maybe I was angry and I was, I don't know, in denial, or I was so busy trying to survive and trying to get a job and trying to do this and that, that I guess you do forget about things and how those related to are both physical and energetically body. So I thought it was kind of like an eye opening. And also, too, now that I've been learning with a lot of experts on the podcast, um, we all agree that we are a whole system. So you cannot heal the physical body and kind of like don't think about like your emotional body, your energetically body, because they're all together. They're still part of you. That's what makes us, whether you call it soul, aura, whatever it is, it's still part of you. So I think looking, now more and more, a lot of physicians are trying to look at, oh, and practitioners, are trying to look at this as a whole thing. Like, what is it? Is it energetically? Is it your physical body? How can we fix both? How can we attend to both to really get you out of that hole? And I think that's like very important.
I'm so with you on that. I've been trying to look up right now metaphysical anatomy, gallbladder. My internet is lagging, so maybe it will pop up and I can talk deeper specifically on that exact case. But I would say that when we talk about auras and prayers and energies and consciousness, really we're just talking about the voltage of frequency that can be measured with a tool. So when I'm in love, let's say I'm madly in love and I have a partner and I become superwoman. My frequency is so high in love that I can literally do anything. And I'm sure everyone can attest to that, that high feeling you get when you're in love. When let's say I get fired from a job, and I'm feeling terrible. Maybe they were mean to me. Maybe they implanted some mean thoughts like of worthiness or whatever. And on all honesty, resonance is a thing. If I wasn't the right energetic resonance fit for their company and their job, that means that door is closing and another one is opening. So we have to follow the resonance and the frequency of how life is moving us, because there is no ending destination. Life is an ever unfolding journey. But let's just say, for example, that I got brainwashed when I left the job, and it sparked a bunch of triggers in me of things from my childhood and old traumas, and that one thing my ex-boyfriend said to me that still haunts me, right? Then all of a sudden I'm triggered into all my low frequency pain that's held in my body, all in my cellular memories, everything I've been through. And then I'm laying in my bed for 3 weeks, crying and crying and crying. And I'm thinking to myself, my logical mind perhaps is telling me, I hated that job anyway. I want actually, there's something else for me out there. Like F those mother effers. They were, jerks anyway, because they're just living their best life. Let's be honest. But everyone is a total unique person with unique perception. So we're not always going to resonate with the way other people see things. We don't need to take it personal. We don't need to believe them. That's a huge point. So let's say I'm in bed and I'm totally triggered. Well, I'm in the lowest possible energetic frequency. I'm now in stress, I'm in pain, I'm in my childhood traumas, and my power is nowhere to be found. This is when our body can get very sick. We can get our all of our low frequency things are available, and that's becomes a magnet to other low frequency things. So like we're more vulnerable. And then we're just like this open wound that is going to magnetize more woundings, right? So
Mhm.
when something like that happens, we have to choose, what do I believe? What do I actually know? What am I sure of? What do I love about myself? What am I sure that is great about me? And we have to, like, from our bootstraps, pull ourselves out of these old triggers and back into our own self power.
Mhm. Yeah, I think that's where we missed the point. That's where we, because it's very easy to say, right? Like, you understand that, I understand that, but there is a lot of people out there that go through these situations, and it takes them a quick minute to understand that they have all the power within, that all these bad situations, and you talk about it, it's all about perspective. I think life is gonna happen, terrible things are gonna happen, and that's kind of like guarantee. Nobody really lives on a pink and amazing beautiful world, or some people tries, but in reality, you know if you see an overall thing, it's like you see natural disasters. So even if you're a whole world, you made it all pink and it's nice and you have all the wealth in the world, what about natural disasters? Those have been happening around the world, and even whether they were wealthy or not, that houses get destroyed, they get burned, all these things that they're out of our control. So there can be natural disasters, car accidents, illness that suddenly happened that you didn't know you had, and suddenly you just fell on the ground and now you have something. Life is going to happen regardless of anything, but the coolest thing about life is, as you mentioned, it's trying to see the perspective in everything. How can we, what can we learn, and how can we get out, and who am I? Because I feel like we forget that the essential point of, we are these amazing and powerful beings, whether we're poor, rich, young, old, whatever it is, you still have that amazing power within. And mostly, I feel like we have all the knowledge we have. We just need little reminders here and there that we are all these amazingness. So, yeah, I mean, it's just a matter of remember who we really are.
Yes. So that has sparked an amazing thing that I want to share. Hopefully, it will give a lot of food to the hearts of the listeners. Um, I will just quickly mention a last point on the question you asked me about emotions and what is the power of emotions over our body and how are emotions contributing to illness, things like that. So, if you think about the energetic voltage, however gigahertz, terahertz, these emotions are vibrating at. So love is vibrating, is the highest vibration we have here in this dimension, in this field that we play in as humans. Joy is just under that. Joy is the next possible highest frequency that we can experience as humans. And then we move down, and the lowest ones are going to be hatred, violence, jealousy, stealing. These are the lower frequency, quote unquote, shadow aspects of duality here. So sometimes we get triggered, and we need to take that time to self-soothe, to offer some healing love to ourselves, perhaps separate from society, separate, and we need to go lay down and we need to just feel that emotion. We need to just feel sad, and we need to have some water and some tears, and we just have to give ourselves that space, almost mother ourselves when those things happen. But when we take that time and space to mother ourselves when we're having a trigger and things like that, and not just vomit onto others, or pass this responsibility to soothe us onto others. That's what a lot of people will do. They're like, I don't feel good. Let me go suck energy from a happy person. I know they're going to make me feel better. There are always times for support from friends and family, but primarily you got to become your own mom and your own dad, and you got to go sit down. You got to get some tools. You got to do some studies. You got to start seeking, find some talented therapists that have options for you, to even free YouTube. Google inner child trauma therapy. You'll get some free information, and whatever resonates with you, you try it and you practice it and you start to integrate it and you take that time. So emotions are meant to be felt, but if we don't feel them and take that time, then they're just there. That jealousy is just vibrating there, and it's pulling us down. It's pulling down our frequency. It's making a hole in our aura, and it's inviting in other low frequency energies, because we're going to attune to whatever frequency we are and resonate with whatever frequency we are. So if we meet someone and we immediately feel, oh, I don't like this person, we don't resonate energetically at the same frequency as they do. And this is just a sign to move away, love yourself, and not judge them. This is a frequency discernment. So yeah, I would say those emotions literally just create a vibration that can make us sick. And that's where our own thoughts and our own feelings can make us sick. And I do sense that as a human, what we've done is we volunteered to incarnate and to have a unique experience in the galaxy of duality. And that's the challenge. We live in a place like the yin and the yang of the Chinese, where there is shadow and where there is light. And there's a new modern phenomenon in the New Age movement of this spiritual bypassing. That's where you were saying this pink fluffy stuff. I'm a beautiful goddess. Look at me. I'm a goddess. I never experienced pain or fear. This is an illusion. This is a program meant to disempower people, because they're ignoring their shadow. And then they're going to project their shadow onto other people and blame other people when any other dark things arise. And they're going to be in this superiority elite stuff. And this is almost like a wormhole of negativity that has infiltrated the New Age movement. For me, it's all about shadow integration. Now, what the heck is that? That's when you identify some parts in yourself that are traumatized, where your triggers are, where your jealousies lie, where your insecurities lie. And we just take note of these with love. If you want to write them down, you can. If you just want to start using witness consciousness and awareness to observe yourself, but you got to give love to those shadow parts. You got to integrate them. And now what does that look like? First, it's acknowledging that you have these parts. This is a huge step.
Right.
Next is going to be becoming familiar with them. And you don't need to make excuses for them. You don't need to punish or penalize them. You have to start to say, okay, I have this trigger. I was abandoned as a child. Sometimes it flares up. Okay, when that happens, I will do my best to go and take care of myself and heal myself and nourish myself. This is what shadow integration is. When other people judge your shadow, let's say you have a partner and you got into your abandonment trigger, and they start to yell at you, you're so effing needy, you're so da 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 da. Instead of taking that mirroring and that feedback into a self-hatred place of, oh, why isn't this healed? Why do I still have this? I hate myself for reacting that way. I hate myself for feeling that way. Instead, no. Okay, we take their mirror as, okay, they're a little annoyed because this has flared up again. And they're not, it's not their job to heal us. We may unconsciously be putting that as their responsibility to never make us feel abandoned. And this is not true. When we get this abandonment flare, we got to go take time. Okay, I'm in my shadow. I'm triggered. Okay, I'm going to go give love to this. I'm going to go, take my time. And then I'm integrating the shadow into my daily life. We don't want to polarize that we don't have any bad sides and that there's nothing wrong with us. And anyone who ever gives us a reflection is just a hater. This is not how you grow. This is not how you move through duality with wisdom. This is not how you show up for loved ones. And this is the game, actually, of being human. This is the unique entertainment feature of deciding to incarnate. because I've had some psychedelic healing experiences where I left my body and I went into unity vibration and I was just there in nirvana. And then I came back into my body and I was like, oh, the earth is a gift. Oh, the plants, the flowers, the animals, the wind, the fire, the sunlight, the making love, the pleasure of food, the feeling of swimming in the ocean and watching a sunset. This is the gift of being incarnating. And if you're living in a different reality than seeing beauty in life and feeling love for yourself to express your gifts, then you've got some heavy thought forms on you from society that have taken you out of your power to enjoy your life, because life is a divine gift. This body is a gift, and this gift you give back to earth when you're done with it, and you will continue on your eternal journey as a spirit. So I would say, like, reframing the dark side of your interior and not being like, oh, I got to get rid of this, or I got to negate this, or I got to pretend it doesn't exist, but really holding yourself like a little baby, because everybody has trauma. And when you start to make some moves on this action of shadow integration, you get this magical ability to hold space for other people's shadows. And then you don't judge them when their shadow arises. You don't judge them when you see them acting out. Perhaps their hurt inner child is now center stage in your conversation. You start to be able to give unconditional love and to hold space for others who need help and offer healing energy to other people. But we got to get our own shadow a bit, get some tools for working with our own shadow. And then we get into this place, this high vibration place of not polarizing other people or demonizing other people or saying this person is bad, this person is good, this person is a bitch, this person is na. We start to read energy. Oh, I don't resonate with this person. Let me discern and move to another area of the room. Oh, I'm feeling a little triggered. Let me not scream at this person. Let me go take a little time. And then we start to be the boss of our own life, and really our spiritual gifts start to show themselves.
Yeah, I think awareness is just like the main thing, because I feel like we all live in such a busy and full of noise life that we really forget to really go within and be aware of how we react to people or why people are reacting this way. And we almost kind of like disregard things and just move on through life. And I feel like sooner or later, that's when we talk about like all these pains physically showing up, because we've been disregarding all these feelings and just like kind of like moving through life really quick and be like, later, it's fine, I'm fine. And then that's when we start having the constant neck pain, low back pain, stomach pain. I have a heart pain and all these things, because we definitely disregard. We've been disregarding all of our feelings since we were little, because we were conditioned to not pay attention to that, to not validate our feelings. And I mean, I've said it many times. Most of our parents or our upbringings, they did what they could. They had the tools that they had. And a lot of us are not lucky enough to have those parents that have those tools to be like, yeah, let me validate your feelings. Let's talk about it. Why are you feeling angry or mad or whatever? And so, yeah, a lot of us are just living through life in a survival mode, and we forget these feelings. But it's really important, because now we're seeing the constant the constant thing with the body, mind, and soul, the connection within. We're seeing it more and more and more. And everybody that's listening can think about like, oh, I have this pain that comes and goes all the time. I wonder what it is. And it doesn't have to be like as dramatic as mine, because mine took me to the hospital. And I was at the hospital trying to figure this out, but because it got so bad, right? So just gonna like pay attention to the mind, body, and soul. I think this is like super important within everything that we're talking about.
Beautiful. Yeah, I do see pain as a signal from your body talking to you, saying it's not saying, hey, go find a chemical synthetic medicine to make me shut up for a minute. The pain is saying, what it's a wake up call, it's an alarm. And cancer essentially, is a distortion, a mutation of energy cells. I'm pretty sure that's how they define a tumor. So, what in your energy field has been so distorted? What in your emotions has been so distorted that it's now manifested in your body, right?
Mm. Oh, man, big question right there. And I think if we could just really sit on that and be like, what is going on with my body? Like listening to the body, just like that essential thing is just, it will really change everybody's life in such a positive. And for everybody out there too, because it came to me as you were talking, there is episode on my podcast, because a lot of people might be thinking that we're just talking woo-woo stuff, and I'm like, they might be like, we don't know what you're talking about, this still sounds really crazy and I don't understand this energy in the body. I have a guest on my podcast, his name is Mark Over, and he also has a book called Upside Down Thinking that he explains scientifically with proof and research everything that we have mentioned: consciousness, past lives, energy work. He talks about clairvoyance, uh, energy workers. He talks about all that. And he has a big, huge research and scientific proof on everything that we just spoke. It has been proven through the years. And I'm a big geek when it comes to like, give me the proof that what you're talking, it's real. Please, if you have a chance, I'll put it also in the show notes for everybody to take a look at all his research and everything that he has done to prove that everything that we just spoke about energy and healing and consciousness and calling the higher self and all that has been proved and science for a long, long time. It's just not in the main media for everybody to be like, hey, here it is. It has been there waiting for us to kind of like see it, but this is all truth. And I hope you guys really have a little bit a higher understanding of what we're talking about, because your life will change immensely.
Beautiful. And I think that activating self love essentially is more powerful than anything else in the universe. And I can frame it in a million different ways. You are God's child, you are beautiful. You came here for a reason. You have unique gifts to offer humanity. Whatever you need to hear to realize that you are absolutely special, you are absolutely perfect, you are absolute a divine being, an eternal vibration of love currently in a body to have a unique experience. And when you activate that flame of self-love, it's like it opens all the doors. You all of a sudden are setting boundaries to keep your energy safe, and you cut toxic relationships. You start to do work that you want to do, not because you're scared, but because you love yourself and you know the gifts that you have to share and you're ready to give them. So I think in the end of the day, in whatever frame of mind, if people want to look at self-love from science, from a medical perspective, if they want to talk to a psychiatrist and get and psychologist and get some insights, if they want to read some self-help books, if they want to go have a shamanic healing experience, whatever way you can start to work with self-love, for me, that's the ultimate path to freedom, to joy, and to quote unquote living your best life. One thing I will note also to ground some of this perhaps in for some of the listeners is that before we had modern medicine, before we had this modern system of kind of patriarchy, which is kind of like a male dominated society and business and stuff, ancient civilizations, which is why I've done so much study of ancient civilizations and gone to see them and learn about them, is because in the past 10, 20, 15, 30,000 years ago, however far you want to think human life goes back, the medicine was only energy healing. They had herbs, and they had energy healing. And actually, they were priestesses, they were wise women. And these were hypersensitive women that actually lived kind of separate from society. And they were just extremely sensitive, extremely intuitive, and had abilities to go into trance, to go into high frequency states where they could just receive divine guidance clearly, you know? So some people maybe that are more like Christian, you can read in the Bible, you know, Jesus laid his hands and he channeled the healing energy of God. You know, Jesus was not the only one doing energy work. And I think these ancient priestesses that were separated from society, in Greek, they were called like oracles. You had this oracle of Delphi. And before we had modern medicine and needles and stuff, women would just go and lay their hands over someone and receive healing vibrations that would pass into that person's energy field and would move its way into the cells. So this is the original medicine. This is the original capacity of humans to heal each other, was literally just a laying of the hands, a receiving of divine guidance, and then a prescription of herbs, a prescription of plants, and that was it.
Yeah. And this is something that everybody can also look up. I mean, in with other guests and my other podcasts, we talk about the same. We talk about the history. We talk about how medicine came to be medicine, and it comes from 4,000 years in our Asian cultures and medicine that's been there for a long time. And something that we talk about it just recently is that or Western medicine, it's been around for like 200 years. And it's
Yeah.
like, I mean, it's great. I don't take it for granted. I think modern medicine has, you know, and technology has done really amazing, great things for humanity. However, I think going back to basics and going back to what we were doing before, which is just like healing ourselves with our own power, healing ourselves with nature and with things that are not going to give us side effects and get us more sick. I think that's just like a huge winning for me. And that's obviously just my personal opinion if you're taking medicine because you have this and that, you know, disease or whatever. By all means, you know, not telling you by all nothing to stop taking them, but look, search for a better healing, for a higher healing within you. How can you heal yourself? What power do you have inside that can really help you? What is it that resonates with you? I think that's our biggest thing in this talk today.
Yes. So I will I will address two of those beautiful thoughts there. So I started to read this book, Neuro Linguistic Programming, NLP, which I think is kind of hot now in the Western world. And it is the idea that whatever words you're choosing to use, those are creating your reality. So if you just change the words that you tell yourself or the words that you speak, it will start to make new neural pathways in your brain and you will start to think bigger and different and invite more things into your reality. So for anyone who is really interested in maybe more of the tangible, physical Western psychology, picking up an NLP book, I would say is a great move. I know they're practitioners as well, also free YouTube search. I read in that book recently about placebo, and this is also a Western thing. So before this modern medicine we've had of hospitals and everything, which definitely have a place. If I need a surgery, I want to go to a fully sanitized hospital. I'm grateful for the insulin for type 1 diabetics. I'm grateful for all the medicine available. What I'm saying is there, and I think what we're communicating here is that there's a whole wheelhouse of tools you can use. And the more tools you have in your bag, the more access points you have, and everybody's toolbox is going to be different. And I've been on it, 30 countries, 13 years of studying all the alternative therapies to find the one that worked for me. What I found was a lot of cults, people saying, this is the only way, this is the only way. And they would try to recruit me into their cult. And I would say, look, I'm just here to get exposure to everything that exists. And I'm going to take with me the universal truths and the truths that resonate with me. And I'm going to continue to search. So I call myself a universal truth seeker. It's like, what is the common thread in all of what everybody's saying that helps me? And I tend to find universal truths of everyone saying the same thing in a different way or having different techniques to tap in. So in the placebo chapter, it was showing the statistics of people before, what they have now. Even nowadays, they would give them a sugar pill. And if the person believed that the medicine, it's like 40%, 60% of people were healing. And they have, I think it's called a nocebo, where they give you a sugar pill and they tell you you're going to lose your hair, possibly. And people lose hair and they had a sugar pill. So here we're showing through Western medical lens the power of what you believe and the power of your mind over your physical body and over your reality, right? So also what I was saying earlier, when you can take time to lay down and command your body to do stuff, that also has a place in Western medicine. You take in the sugar pill and you're telling yourself that this is going to make me lose my hair, and then your hair is lost. You're taking the pill, you think and believe that this is going to change it. So for example, I have some liver issues. It's hereditary. So I often talk to my liver and I just tell my liver, okay, I'm consciously relaxing my entire body. I'm calling to divine source, whoever my creator archetype is, right? And then I'm just saying, liver, let's detox, let's drain, let's heal. Bile, let's send some bile over. Let's just do me zapping my intention onto my liver, and I start to work with my liver. So this is very woo-woo, but if you look at placebos and you realize that whatever you believe becomes real, then you can see the power of this. Chinese medicine is fascinating. I started to do acupuncture a long time ago, and I would vibrate and I would have breakthroughs, and I would leave the session like, what just happened to me? Acupuncture is where they're considering that we have energetic meridians. This is the electrical grid of the body. And the electrical grid has these big meetup points. And when you stick a little needle into those meetup points, it blasts energy through the highways and opens the highway. So chi and energy, prana, universal life force, the electrical charge that creates our reality starts to flow in a more clear and pure way. They even have things where they will light mugwort and they will put it on your toe where the meridian starts, and this will start to send the frequency of the mugwort into your channel. So Chinese, they are powerful. They are doing woo-woo magic every day, and that is their system of Western medicine. If you go to a Chinese medicine doctor, he will prescribe you and do some weird stuff and from a Western lens, let's just say. So I would say working with the energy body, the aura, the energetic field, the energy of emotions, the energy of prayer, all of that is really just looking at our meridians of energy. And the Chinese can definitely back that up.
Yeah. And it's so great. I love acupuncture. And like one of my episodes, we were talking about that on how Chinese medicine's been there for 4,000 years. Our Western medicine has been for about 200 years. Clearly, someone has been doing something right because it's been there for 4,000 years. How are we not seeing this, And but anyways, it's obviously everybody's journeys is different. We understand things when we need to, when we do the work, when we're really desperate sometimes of like, give me the answers. I need this. I need to get healed. Or my mom is sick, or my dad, or someone, right? We call to the higher selves or the higher energy when we're in trouble, when we are on our knees. And that's unfortunately because we get these kind of like whispers or like these little knocks along the way telling us like, hey, maybe you should address why you feel this way. Why are you angry? Let's address this now. And we just, as I said earlier, we just kind of like disregard life like often all along until something really bad happens. Then we're like, how can I heal myself? Or as you mentioned, we start praying. Because naturally, that's another thing that I talk about before. Even when people are like, I don't believe in anything, this is woo-woo, doesn't make sense or whatever, right? When we're in our lowest point, we call to that whatever archetype, as you mentioned, whether it's Jesus or whatever God is yours, or whoever your family prays to, you will ask for help. And that we naturally do that. Nobody tells us, go and pray. We are in trouble, we're in pain, we're on whatever lowest point, and suddenly, magically, naturally, we're like, please, whoever is out there, help.
Totally. And we mentioned this a bit on our pre-call conversation, which is like in shamanism and some spiritual traditions, they call this the dark night of the soul. They call it the initiation. They call it the transformation. It's personified as the phoenix rising from the ashes, or the butterfly, the caterpillar going into the chrysalis, going through complete and total mutilation and destruction and fear, and emerging this beautiful butterfly. Oftentimes we find these healing tools and we become more open and we become more quote unquote spiritual, which I call spiritual is just a one-to-one relationship with source, with your creator, that has nothing to do with anyone else. There is a spiritual culture where people want to, attach their ego to their spiritual beliefs. And then you see some kind of weird new age people lecturing and you think, what is up with this person? They feel very disconnected from my reality. Um, for me, my particular journey, how I got here, was all through trauma. I had a very traumatizing childhood because I was so sensitive and I grew up in the modern world. When I would talk about my psychic gifts and my spiritual gifts and my perceptions, I was told I was wrong. I was told I needed to go on antidepressants because I felt depressed when I saw somebody suffering, or I would be crying and crying about the children in Africa I saw in that commercial for weeks. And my mom would be like, you need to go on medicine. There's something wrong with you or whatever. Go on this antidepressant medicine. And I always resisted. I felt like, look, I don't want to be whatever these chemicals are doing to regulate me. That doesn't feel like that's my issue. And I do believe that people need Western medicine and that psychiatry saves lives. And there are mental illnesses that require medication. For me, I was just highly sensitive and I was very vulnerable to trauma. So I just racked up trauma. And then it got to the point where it's like, okay, I'm using drugs and I'm using sex and I'm using alcohol to try to make myself feel better. I'm using codependency to get love from other people because secretly I hate myself because since I was a child, I was told that all my intuitions were wrong. All the things I liked and that the way I thought was wrong. And therefore I had no self-love. So I had to go looking for tools because otherwise I was going to kill myself. I was suicidal all through my childhood. I tried to kill myself many times because I was so sensitive to pain because I'm a hypersensitive person. I'm extremely psychic. I can see and feel spectrums of empathy that other people have no access to. And I had to find tools. It was life or death for me. I was like, I'm either going to keep doing drugs and making myself sick and finding ways to cope, or I'm going to find elite self-care tools that work. And I fell into a few traps sometimes of people saying, this is what you have to do. Like they knew what was right for me. And I would like take them as my new guru or as my teacher. And then I found out, no, this actually doesn't work for me. Your system is not right for me. And I would have to separate myself. And it was sometimes challenging because I had finally found a spiritual group that felt more sensitive and open. And then again, I'm rejected, or again, I'm not belonging, right? So ayahuasca, and I don't recommend ayahuasca to anyone unless they have a very safe circle with a very powerful shaman, full of healers, full of integration counselors. When you're a Westerner, you will have extreme emotional baggage. I'm just going to be honest. The modern condition in the United States is heavy, heavy. We're not taught self-love. We're not taught you're valuable. We're not taught anything except consumerism and comparison and like put your head down, do the work, be stressed out, and that's how you become successful, right? It's not like take some rest days to, enjoy the beauty of the trees. I've never heard anyone say that in the West as a suggestion. So, yeah, ayahuasca really, I drank it the first time. And all of a sudden I was like, I'm valuable, I'm beautiful. And all that programming melted. So I do find that to be a helpful tool for people and for birthing a first wave of self-love. But yeah, it's exactly as you said. It's like when we get into such depth, dark nights of despair, that's when we're open. And instead, why don't we, when we're feeling good, why don't we go and watch some free YouTube videos, practice some breath work, go hit up a yoga class, and do some preventative care.
Yes. I think that's like the major thing when it comes to like just healing in general. Self-care it really goes a long way. And I think we just forget about it. We think about self-care as when we're already sick, and that's really not what it is. I think self-care is just one of those things that has to be on our priority list to be in optimal health at all times or most of the time, right? And it goes on the mind, body, and soul to really uh, get all ourselves healthy out there. So yeah, there's a lot of things to think about and really try to connect our whole system, as I've been talking about it. We're a whole thing, our energy, our mind, our soul, whatever you want to call it, and connected to our physical body. So I think this has been a great conversation that it takes us up and down and everywhere. So I'm so happy to have you here, Lauren, today. Is there anything else that you would like to share before we go?
I just want everyone to know that you are so beautiful. You are so precious. You are so important. You are a beautiful gem and diamond within the tapestry of the entire collective energy and human family. And whoever or whatever told you anything different than that, you need to realize that that is a voice in your head that is not yours. And whenever it comes up, you need to identify it as someone else's voice and take some space away from it and remember, decide that I am beautiful, I am powerful. And this is where we're going to start to step in to your full power so you can give your gifts to humanity and instead of being out of your power. I just want everyone to feel their own power, their own divinity, their own force of love within their heart and start to take care of themselves because they definitely deserve it. Thanks so much for having me and letting me share my story, share my perception, my point of view. My point of view is just one limited, teeny tiny perception within a wave of possibilities. And I inspire everyone just to take their own journey, take their healing into their own hands, do some baby action steps, and of course, share love and give love and be kind and appreciative of everything that you have. Be grateful for the food in the fridge. Be grateful for the phone calls that you can make to your loved ones and really hone in and bring in that frequency of gratitude. You are lucky, you are beautiful, you are powerful, and you have something to give and contribute on the world stage.
Oh, man, drop the mic right there. For anyone that wants to get in contact with you and see what you do, or perhaps get a session, where can they find you?
Amazing. So I do recommend everyone go to my website. We also have a link to my Calendly. I do free discovery calls. These are between 30 minutes to half an hour, 30 minutes to 60 minutes. These are for me just to share this high vibration love with you. I do only do sessions with people that we feel vibrationally that this work can be done, that my soul can touch your soul and help you. So I highly recommend you guys check out my website, read about my services, read more about me and the kind of things I'm offering, and then just book yourself a free call on my Calendly. Let's chat, let's raise the vibe, let's get into our power. And if I'm not the one to serve you, I'll give you a long list of tools and things to tap into and maybe try out for yourself.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you. I will put also all your information on the show notes for everybody listening and wants to know more about my show. You can find me at alexspellgood.com. You can find me on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, pretty much everywhere in social media. Remember too, my book is out. You can buy it on Amazon and Barnes and Nobles. It's called Parents Are Greatest Teachers. Thank you, everyone, for listening. Thank you, Lauren, for joining us today from Brazil. Yay. Shout out to all the Brazil audience over there. Thank you, everyone, for listening today. And please have a blessed and amazing day today.